Go ahead and read.
That ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your
contingency. Go ahead.
But I speak this by permission.
Okay, I'll tell you what, we're gonna stop right there. Let's go back to Proverbs 31. Let's go back to Proverbs 31. So I just want you to see that, you know, it's equal for the woman as well as the man. When the man say come on, then the woman's supposed to come on. When the woman say come on, then we understand you have headaches, but you better not have too many of them. That go for the man and the woman. So we're talking about a virtuous woman now. We're really concentrating on the women. So Proverbs 31. Proverbs 31. We're gonna pick it back up at verse 13. Pick it up at verse 13. Go ahead and read.
She seeketh wool.
Talking about the virtuous woman again. She seeketh wool. Go ahead.
And flax. And worketh willingly with her hand. She is like the merchant's ship. She bringeth her food from afar. She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens.
Go ahead.
She considereth a field, and buyeth it. With the fruit of her hands, she planteth a vineyard.
Go ahead. That's a good woman there, ain't it? She doing all this. Talking about women don't work. Women work. She got to do this, especially a virtuous woman. Verse 17.
She girdeth her loins with strength, and strengtheneth her arms. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her cattle goeth out, not out by night.
Skip down to verse 20. Go ahead.
She stretcheth out her hand to the poor. Yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy.
Go skip down to verse 23. She ain't afraid to give, neither is she. Verse 23. Go ahead.
Her husband is known in the gates. When he sitteth among the elders of the land.
See, man, yeah, man, you got that good wife. Yeah, I know your wife, man. You got that good wife. I wish I had a wife like that. You know, her husband is known in the gates. The husband is known in the gate through the wife, though. Right. Go ahead and read.
Her husband.
Read that verse 23 again.
Her husband is known in the gates. When he sitteth among the elders of the land.
See, he's known in the gates because of his wife. Skip down to verse 26. Go ahead and read.
She openeth her mouth with wisdom. And in her tongue is the law of kindness.
Go ahead.
She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of the idleness.
Go ahead.
Her children arise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praiseth her. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellence them all.
And many women have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. This is the virtuous woman that we are dealing with today. The virtuous woman. Look at all of this that she does. Her husband is even known in the gates by her by her being a virtuous woman. That is really something, ain't it? And man, you ain't getting your props on your own. You getting it off of your woman, off of your wife. Let's go now. Let's look at a virtuous woman. Another virtuous woman. Let's go to 1 Samuel, the 25th chapter. 1 Samuel, the 25th chapter. 1 Samuel 25, and we're going to pick it up at verse 2. 1 Samuel 25 and 2. Now this woman right here, she saved her husband. But then he turned around and died, though, because the Lord had it out for him. You understand? But she had saved her husband from getting killed by David. So this woman, her husband, Nabal, means fool. And that's what she had. So some women, you got your husband might be a fool. So, you just got to trust in the Lord and do what's right according to the Lord. Your husband say, well, look, I want you to cook me some pork. Then, hey, he the man of the house. You the head of the house, you go ahead and cook that pork for him or whatever. But don't you eat it, though. You understand? You know, you gotta play your part as the wife. If he asks you to do something, it ain't that's within reason. I mean, because some people, they eat pork. Some husbands eat pork. And he the head of the house. So if he told you now, go out and start sinning against the Lord, now that's a whole nother deal there. Because the woman, she can cook the pork for her husband, but she can't eat it though. Hey, she got to touch it. She got to touch it. That's for her husband. So now, let's go now. We're going to 1 Samuel 25, and we're going to pick it up at verse 2. 1 Samuel 25 and 2. Because if she touched that pork, the Lord did say don't touch it. But if she touched that, she gonna wash herself and be clean in the evening. He keep on eating that pork, and then you lay down and die, and you've been eating that pork. What's gonna happen to you when the Lord wake you up? You in trouble.
Right.
She ain't in trouble. She ain't in trouble, because she didn't eat it. But anyway, let's go now. Let's go to 1 Samuel 25 and 2. 1 Samuel 25 and 2. Go ahead and read.
And there was a man in Maon,
Uh-huh.
whose possessions were in Carmel,
Uh-huh.
and the man was very great, and he had 3,000 sheep, and 1,000 goats, and he was shearing his sheep in Carmel.
Uh-huh.
Now the name of the man was Nabal, and the name of his wife was Abigail,
Uh-huh.
and she was a woman of good understanding, and of a beautiful conscience.
Uh-huh.
But the man was churchish, and evil in the doings.
He was churlish and he was evil.
In his doings.
Uh-huh.
And he was of the house of Caleb.
Go ahead.
And David heard in the
Now he was the house of Caleb. He was Israelite. Go ahead.
And David heard in the wilderness that Nabal did shear his sheep. And David sent out 10 young men. And David said unto the young men, Get you up to Carmel, and go to Nabal, and greet him in my name. And thus shall ye say to him that liveth in prosperity.
Go ahead.
Peace be both to thee, and peace be to thine house, and peace be unto all that thou hast.
Now, David came to him real humbly, didn't he? David came to him real humble. Because everybody, you know, they was out in the forest, they was hungry and everything, but David was a warrior too. And at this time, I believe he was running from Saul. So he came, so they out in the woods and everything, so they want to eat. And they was protecting Nabal's sheep and everything, and protecting, making sure that nobody do nothing to the possessions of Nabal. So he said, you know, look, let's go on over there, petition Nabal, talk to Nabal, come and greet him and everything, and tell him peace be unto you and everything from David. And what happened? Verse 7.
And now I have heard that thou hast shears. Now thy shepherds which were with us, we hurt them not. Neither was the aught missing unto them. All the while they were at Carmel.
Go ahead.
Ask thy young men, and thy will show thee. Therefore let the young men find favor in thine eyes. For we come in a good day. Give, I pray thee, whatsoever cometh to thine hand unto thy servants, and do and to thy son David.
Now he said, do what, you know, we want a little handout, in other words, you know, but whatever you want to give us, go ahead and give it to us. Right? Go ahead and read.
And when David's young men came, they spake to Nabal, according to those words in the name of David, and ceased.
Go ahead.
And Nabal answered David's servants and said, Who is David?
Now he said, who is David? Now you know, that's how black people are. Who do you think he is? You know, who is David now? Ain't that something just like what we were saying? Who do you think he is, man? You know, but he know who David was. Everybody know who David was. But he's churlish and he's evil and everything. So, man, who this guy think he is? Who David think he is? Go ahead and read.
And who is the son of Jesse?
Now he knew who he was, didn't he? He knew he was David. He knew he was the son of Jesse. Go ahead and read.
There be many servants nowadays that break away every man from his master.
It's because David broke away from Saul. Because Saul was trying to kill him. Go ahead and read.
Shall I then take my bread and my water and my flesh that I have killed for thy shears and give it unto men whom I know not whence they be?
Now he know who it was, didn't he? Go ahead and read.
So David's young men turned their way and went again and came and told him all those things.
Now he shouldn't have said that. He shouldn't have said that. They went back, ooh. Verse 13, go ahead.
And David said unto his men, gird ye on every man his sword.
He said, gird ye every man on his sword. We get ready to pay this cat a visit. Go ahead and read.
And they gird on every man his sword. And David also girded on his sword. And there went up after David about 400 men, and 200 abode by God.
They wasn't thinking to go have no party, was they? They thinking to do some damage. 400 men? If I'm just going to talk to somebody, I don't need 400 guys. So he finna go do some damage. Go ahead and read.
But one of the young men told Abigail, Nabal's wife, saying, behold, David sent messengers out of the wilderness to salute our master.
To salute our master. Go ahead and read.
And he railed on them.
And Nabal railed on them. He was talking crazy to them. Go ahead and read.
But the men were very good unto us, and we were not hurt, neither missed we anything. As long as we were conversant with them when we were in the field.
Go ahead.
They were a wall unto us both by night and day. All the while we were with them, keeping the sheep.
Go ahead.
No, now therefore, know and consider that thou wilt do.
What thou wilt do.
What thou wilt do. For evil is determined against our master and against all his household.
Ooh, he knew this then. He said evil is determined against our master and the household. So they get ready to do something to us. Go ahead and read. But Abigail, she was a wise woman. She was a virtuous woman. Go ahead and read.
Yeah. And against all his household, for is such a son of Belial.
He said, he's such a son of Belial. Go ahead.
That a man cannot speak to him.
Can't nobody even talk to him. Because he was churlish and evil, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So he couldn't even talk to Nabal. Because Nabal means fool. Go ahead and read.
Then Abigail made haste and took 200 loaves and 2 bottles of wine and 5 sheep ready dressed, and 5 measures of parched corn and 100 clusters of raisins and 200 cakes of figs.
She was busy, wasn't she?
And laid them on asses.
Go ahead and read.
And she said unto her servants, go on before me. Behold, I come after you. But she told not her husband Nabal. And it was so, as she rode on the ass, that she came down by the covert of the hill, and behold, David and his men came down against her, and she met them. Now David has said, surely in vain have I kept all that this fellow hath in the wilderness, so that nothing was missed of all that pertained unto him. And he hath required me evil for good.
He hath required me evil for good. Go ahead and read.
So and more also do God unto the enemies of David. If I leave of all that pertain to him by the morning light any pisseth against the wall.
Any that pisseth against the wall. In other words, I'm going to kill all the male in Nabal's family, in his household. I'm not going to leave none by day or night that pisseth against the wall. Go ahead and read.
And when Abigail saw David, he hasted and lightened off the ass and fell before David on her face and bowed herself to the ground.
Now she knew who David was, didn't she? And then what she do? She fell down before him and honored him, didn't she? So if you know, she knew who he was. She knew who her husband knew who he was. Didn't she?
Right.
Go ahead and read.
And fell at his feet and said upon me, my Lord, upon me let his iniquity be. And let thine handmaid, I pray thee, speak in thy audience. and hear the words of thine handmaid.
Now he could have went, he just could have very well just killed her, man, kill her and let's go.
Right.
But no, David was a valiant man, he was an honorable man, so he listened to this woman. Go ahead and read.
Let not my Lord, I pray thee, regard this man of Belial, even Nabal, for as his name is, so is he. Nabal is his name, and folly is with him.
Now folly is with him, so Nabal means fool there, right? If folly is with him, go ahead and read.
But I thine handmaid saw not the young men of my Lord, whom thou didst send.
Go ahead.
Now therefore, my Lord, as the Lord liveth, and as thy soul giveth, seeing the Lord hath withholden thee from coming to shed blood, and from avenging thyself with thine own hand. Now let thine enemies and thy that seek evil to my Lord be as Nabal.
Go ahead.
And now this blessing which thine handmaid hath brought unto my Lord, let it even be given unto the young men that follow my Lord. I pray thee, forgive the trespass of thine handmaid, for the Lord will certainly make my Lord a sure house, because my Lord fighteth the battles of the Lord, and evil hath not been found in thee all thy days. Let a man is risen to pursue thee, and to seek thy soul.
Okay, skip down to verse 32. Skip down to verse 32. Go ahead.
And David said to Abigail, blessed be the Lord God of Israel, which sent thee this day.
That have saved thee this day. Go ahead, because he's about to kill everybody. Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, which sent thee this day to meet me. Go ahead.
And bless me thy advice. And bless thou, which hast kept me this day for coming to shed blood, and from avenging myself with mine own hand. For in very deed, as the Lord of Israel liveth, which hath kept me back from hurting thee, except thou hast hasted and come to meet me, surely there had not been left unto noble by the morning and night any that pisseth against the wall.
Go ahead.
So David received of her hand that which she had brought him, and said unto her, go up in peace to thine house. See, I have hearkened to thy voice.
Go ahead. Now, her husband, he still don't know what's going on.
Right.
He still don't know what's going on. Now, she done saved him, saved the whole household.
Yeah.
But the Lord had another plan for Nabal. See, that's why you don't mess with the servant of the Lord. Because the Lord might not use that servant to do you, but something else might happen to you though. Go ahead and read.
And Abigail came to Nabal, and behold, he held a feast in his house, like the feast of a king. And Nabal's heart was merely within him, for he was very drunken.
See, now Nabal, he don't even know what's going on. He had still throw a feast, and then he done got drunk. He partied. Go ahead and read.
Wherefore she told him nothing, less or more, until the morning light.
Go ahead.
But it came to pass in the morning, when the wine was gone of Nabal,
out of Nabal,
and his wife had told him these things.
Go ahead.
That his heart died within him. And he became as a stone.
And his heart died within him. He became as a stone. He must have had a stroke or something. A heart attack or something. What did it say, verse 38?
And it came to pass about 10 days after that the Lord smote Nabal, that he died.
And then what happened to Abigail? Skip down to verse. Let's see. I wasn't gonna read all of this, but we did. So far we have, haven't we? 42.
And Abigail hasted and arose and rode upon an ass with 5 damsels of hers that went after her, and she went after the messengers of David and became his wife.
And that's who this David is. This is the one that took your wife, man. God gave him this virtue. Since Nabal didn't deserve her, God gave it to David.
Right.
Let's go now. Let's go to Numbers, the 6th chapter. Numbers, the 6th chapter. Number 6. And we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Number 6 and 1. Because, you know, most people talk, when you talk about Nazarites and everything, most people think that that pertains only to men. But Nazarites don't only pertain to men, they pertain to women too. A woman could have been a Nazarite too. Numbers 6 and 1. Numbers 6 and 1. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when either man or woman
go ahead,
shall separate themselves to vow a vow of Nazarite.
Of a Nazarite to vow. So a man or woman could be a Nazarite. Go ahead, what did they do?
To separate themselves unto the Lord.
That's what a Nazarite does. They separate themselves to the Lord. And not only could a man be a Nazarite, but a woman also could be a Nazarite. Let's go to because women were prophets too, or the book called them prophetess. But you rarely hear about them, do you? We rarely hear about the women prophetess. Let's go to Exodus 15th chapter. Exodus 15, and we're gonna pick it up at verse 20. Exodus 15 and 20. Go ahead and read it.
And Miriam, the prophetess.
And Miriam, the prophetess. Go ahead.
The sister of Aaron took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out after her with timbrels and with dances. And Miriam answered them, Sing ye the Lord. Sing ye to the Lord, for he hath triumphant gloriously. The horse and his rider hath he thrown into the sea.
Now he's talking about Pharaoh's army she's talking about Pharaoh's army got cast into the sea. But you see what the book called, and Miriam the prophetess, the sister of Aaron, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out after her. Now some people say that a prophetess, that's the wife of a prophet. Well, I didn't see where her husband was called a prophet. I don't see in the Bible either where a woman is called a prophetess, her husband was a prophet. I don't see that. I just see the book calling her a prophetess. Let's go now. Let's go to Luke, the 2nd chapter. Luke, the 2nd chapter. We're going to come back to the Old Testament in a minute. But Luke, the 2nd chapter. Because not only were they called prophetess in the old book, of the Old chapter, Old Testament, and the New Testament too. Luke 2 and 36. Luke 2 and 36. Go ahead and read it. 2 and 36. Go ahead.
And there was one Anna, a prophetess.
Oh, you see that? And there was one Anna, a prophetess. Go ahead and read.
The daughter of Phanuel, of the tribe of Asher. She was of a great age, and had lived with an husband 7 years from her virginity.
Go ahead.
And she was a widow of about 84 years, which departed not from the temple, but served God with fastings and prayers, night and day.
Ooh, you see that? She was a widow, and then she went into the temple, served and did not depart from the temple, night nor day, serving God. They did not depart from the temple, but served God with fasting and prayers night and day. Verse 38, go ahead and read.
And she coming in that instant gave thanks likewise unto the Lord, and spake of him to all them that looked for redemption in Jerusalem.
And spake to all of them that looked for redemption in Jerusalem. So she was prophesying, wasn't she? Let's go now. Let's go back to Judges. Judges, the 4th chapter. And we're going to pick it up at verse 4. Judges 4, and we're going to pick it up at verse 4. Now this is Deborah, the woman prophetess. Judges 4 and 4. Deborah, the prophetess. Judges 4 and 4. So there's a lot of great women in the Bible. We rarely hear about them though. So today I just thought I'd do some, not because of Mother's Day, and not because I don't celebrate Mother's Day. If you want to celebrate Mother's Day, then that's up to you. But I just want to show in the Bible that not only we supposed to honor your mother and your father every day, right? And I just want to show you that in the Bible that the Lord have used women too as well as men. The woman is not to usurp authority over the man though. But I just want to let you see that there are great women in the Bible.
Yes.
Judges 4, and pick it up at verse 4. Go ahead and read.
And Deborah, a prophetess.
Deborah, a prophetess. Go ahead.
The wife of Lepido.
Now, who said he was a prophet? Go ahead and read.
She judged Israel at that time.
Oh, not only was she a prophetess, but she judged Israel at this time. She was a judge in Israel. Go ahead and read. A woman. You know, she judged matters in Israel as well as the men did. Go ahead and read.
And she dwelt under the palm tree of Deborah.
Read up a little louder, come on.
And she dwelt up under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in Mount Ephraim. And the children of Israel came up to her for judgment.
And the children of Israel came unto her for judgment. Go ahead and read.
And she sent and called Barak, the son of Abinah, out of Kadesh, Naphtali, and said unto him, Have not the Lord God of Israel commanded, saying, Go and draw toward Mount Tabor, and take with them, take thee 10,000 men.
Now she giving them a prophecy now. She giving them a prophecy. She said, and she sent and called Barak, the son of Abinah, and out of Kadesh of Naphtali, and said unto him, Have not the Lord God of Israel commanded, saying, Go and draw toward Mount Tabor, and take with thee 10,000 men of the children of Naphtali? Go ahead.
And of the children of Zebulun.
Now how did she know the Lord said it? Tell her this. How did she know this? God evidently gave her this prophecy, didn't he? That's why she was a prophetess. Go ahead and read.
And I will draw unto thee to the river Kishon, Sisera, and I will draw into the river Kishon, Sisera, the captain of Jabin's army,
Sisera, go ahead. The captain of Jabin's army, go ahead.
With his chariots and his multitude, and I will deliver him into thine hand.
Now, how did she know this? Except the Lord had sent her a message telling her this.
That's right.
Because we don't see what happened to Sisera. Go ahead, verse 8. Go ahead.
And Barak said unto her, If thou wilt go with me, then I will go. But if thou wilt not go with me, then I will not go.
Go ahead. Now, this is a man saying this now. He's telling this woman, look, if you will go with me, then I will go. If you don't go, then I'm not going. He's telling the woman this. Now, he's a valiant man, but now he's leaning on a woman now, ain't he?
Yeah.
Verse 9.
And she said, I will surely go with thee. Notwithstanding the journey that thou takest shall not be for thine honor. For the Lord shall sell Sisera into the hand of a woman.
Ooh, now how she know this? But say for the Lord, she said, I'm not doing it for y'all, I'm doing this for the Lord, because the Lord gonna sell Sisera in the hand of a woman. Go ahead and finish that.
And Deborah arose and went with Barak to Kadesh.
Now, let's go to let's skip down to verse 13. Skip down to verse 13. What happened? Let's see if this prophecy that she gave him, let's see if it came to fruition. Go ahead and read verse 13. Go ahead.
And Sisera gathered toward all his chariots, even 900 chariots of iron. And all the people that were with him from Harosheth of the Gentiles
Go ahead.
unto the river of Kishon.
Now this is a man, this is a valiant man, a captain, right? He said he had 100 chariots, right? 900 chariots of iron. And all the people that were with him from Horeshep of the Gentiles unto the river of Kishon. So he coming to do some battle, ain't he? Well, look at what happened to him. The battle got too sore for him. Look at what he did. Go ahead.
And Deborah said...
Now he coming against the children of Israel. Go ahead and read.
And Deborah said unto Barak, Up, for this is the day in which the Lord hath delivered Sisera into thy hand. Is not the Lord gone out before thee?
Go ahead.
So Barak went down from Mount Tabor.
Now she giving him instructions, ain't she? A woman. Now she with him in the war right here, and she the one that's giving him instruction. He's supposed to be the man, you know, the captain and all this stuff, and she the one. Look, man, get up. You know, this is the day that the Lord telling you they're going to deliver Sisera into your hand. Go ahead and read. She giving him orders. Verse what verse you at? 14. You finished that?
The end of 14.
Go ahead.
So Barak went down from Mount Tabor, and 10,000 men after him. And the Lord discomfited Sisera and all his chariots and all his hosts with the edge of the sword before Barak.
Go ahead.
So that Sisera lighted down off his chariot and fled away of his feet.
Now look at him now. So the battle got too heavy for him, so he just got off his chariot, took off running. Well, look what happened though. Verse 17, go ahead.
Verse 16.
Verse 17, go ahead. No, you go ahead and read. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead. You're right, go ahead.
But Barak pursued after the chariots and after the host unto Horeshep of the Gentiles, and all the host of Sisera fell upon the edge of the sword, and there was not a man left.
Go ahead.
Howbeit Sisera fled away on his feet to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber, the Kenite.
Now he done fled away. Now he done ran to this woman's tent. Thought he was getting away, right? Can you imagine that? No, you seeing all these chariots and everything. Next thing you know, one of the captains, he done jumped off the chariot and took off running. Thinking he gonna get away, but he done ran. Now remember Deborah already told you, gave Barak the prophecy that what? Sisera was going to be sold into the hand of a woman. Right. Delivered into the hand of a woman. And now look at here. He done ran to this woman's tent. Go ahead and read. Look at what she going to do to him now. Go ahead and read.
For there was peace between Jabin, the king of Hazor, and the house of Heber, the Kenite.
Keep reading.
And Jael went out to meet Sisera and said unto him, Turn in, my lord. Turn in to me.
Now she said, Turn in, my lord. Turn unto me. Don't fear. Go ahead and read.
And when he had turned in unto her into the tent, she covered him with a mantle.
So she tried to I'm going to hide you. So she done covered him up. You understand? I'm going to hide you. Okay. Don't tell nobody nothing. Go ahead and read.
And she said unto her, Give me, I pray thee, a little water to drink, for I am thirsty.
Go ahead.
And she opened a bottle of milk and gave him drink and covered him. Again he said unto her, Stand in the door of the tent, and it shall be, when any man doth come and inquire of thee, and say, Is there any man here? That thou shalt say, No.
So he said, Look, cover me and give me something to drink. Then she covered him up. Yeah, somebody come stand at the door and watch out for me. Now remember, he's supposed to get delivered into the hands of a woman. Now he in this woman's tent, and she done covered him up where she like hiding him. And then he telling her, look, go be the lookout. Right. Go ahead, brother.
Then Jael, Heber's wife, took a nail of the tent.
She took a nail of the tent. You know one of them long nails that you had to knock the rope down, put in the rope that had the tent to stay up? She took one of them. Look what she did with it. Go ahead.
And took a hammer in her hand.
Now, you know, she ain't fixing to go nail on no wood. So what you think you can do with this nail and hammer? Go ahead and read.
And went softly
I tell you, read that verse 21 again.
Then Jael, Heber's wife, took a nail of the tent, and took a hammer in her hand, and went softly unto him, and smote the nail into his temple.
Woo! And smote the nail into his temples. She wasn't intending on him to get up, was she? Nope. Put it in his temple. Go ahead and read.
And fastened it into the ground.
And woo! It must have been a long nail then, wasn't it? And fastened it to the ground. Man, ain't that something? But who gave you this prophecy first, though? Deborah did, didn't she? She gave you this prophecy, said that this man Sisera going to be delivered into the hands of a woman. Go ahead and read.
For he was fast asleep and weary. So he died.
So he died. Go ahead.
And behold, as Barak pursued
Sisera,
Jael came out to meet him, and said unto him, Come, and I will show thee the man whom thou seekest.
Oh, you look at this. He said, come on over, I'm going to show you what the guy is that you're looking for. Imagine that. I wonder if when he went in that temple, what he think when he saw her. He probably looked at her. Like, man, you done nailed this guy's head to the ground with a nail and hammer? That took some heroism, didn't it? That took some courage, didn't it? She done nailed his head to the ground. I've been looking at her like, let me get up out of here. Finish that.
And I will show thee the man whom thou seekest. And when he came into her tent, behold, Sisera lay dead. And the nail was in his temple. And the
nail was in his temple. I've been looking at her like, what's wrong? What's going on with you? You nailed this guy's head to the temple. Nailed this guy's head to the ground like this. But Deborah, the prophetess, already gave you this prophecy, didn't she? Yeah. She had already gave you this prophecy. Now, let's go now. Let's go to Ephesians, the 5th chapter, Ephesians 5. I'm going to get y'all out of here on time. Ephesians 5. But I just want y'all to understand that there are women of the Bible, faithful women of the Bible. Women that did heroism in the Bible. Ephesians 5 and 22. Ephesians 5 and 22. When you get it, go ahead and start reading. Ephesians 5 and 22. Go ahead.
Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands.
Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands. Now we talk, these are women, daughters of the church now. Okay? He said, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husband. Go ahead.
As unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife.
Now, the Lord has said this now. The husband is the head of the wife. So women, that's the way it is. Because when a woman starts trying to run the household like a man, then something bad is going to happen. They're going to wind up getting a divorce or something. Things just not going to jive right. That's out of order. It's out of order. Go ahead and read.
Even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body.
Go ahead.
Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands.
Let the wives be to their own husbands. I'm talking about daughters of the church now. You understand? This is how the Lord, this is the order that the Lord done things. Now we know the women of the world, how some of them run their own house, run their household, and tell their man what to do. And that's why everything out of whack with them. That's why so many a lot of divorces. But when a woman allows the man to be the head, then things run a whole lot smoother. Go ahead and read.
So let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wives.
Now the husband got to love the wives too now. Because he got a role, he got to play too. Go ahead.
Even as Christ also loved the church. And give himself for it.
Man, you ready to give your life for your wife? If you're not, you better grow up to it. You understand? Because you got to love your wife as Christ loved the church. And Christ gave his life for the church, didn't he? And so, man, you gotta learn, you gotta grow up to that. Somebody come in your house and break in, hey, you ain't finna take over my dead body. Over my dead body. Now, let's go now. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 11th chapter. 1 Corinthians 11th chapter. And we're gonna pick it up at verse 3. 1 Corinthians 11 and 3. We're dealing with the daughters of the church now. 1 Corinthians 11 and 3. Go ahead and read it.
But I will have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man.
See, man got a head too, don't he? Yes. The head of man is Christ, and Christ got a head too, though. Yes. And the head of the woman is who?
The man.
Go ahead.
And the head of Christ is God.
And the head of Christ is God. Amen. So everybody got their head, don't they? Right. But we're going to come right back here. We're going to come right back here. Let's go to 1 Timothy, the 2nd chapter. 1 Timothy 2. 1 Timothy, the 2nd chapter. We're going to pick up at verse 11. 1 Timothy 2 and 11.
Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection.
Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. Go ahead and read.
But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man.
He said, but I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man. Go ahead.
But to be in the silence.
But to be in the silence. She's not supposed to usurp authority over the man, because the man is the head, ain't he? Right. So if she starts standing, and then when she in the church, she want to stand here, she is usurping authority over the man then, ain't she? So therefore, the woman can't stand right here. They saying the woman can't teach. Right. Now, we're talking about women in the church, so don't get mad at me, okay? We're dealing with women and the daughters of the church. So now she's not supposed to stand right here. She could go and teach somebody something. Somebody start hollering, the 7th day of the first day of the week, you know she's going to open her mouth and say something. And the Lord does too. You understand what I'm saying? Come on, let's be real about this. You know, somebody say Jesus, she gonna be on them. Go ahead, I'm talking about the woman of the church now. Go ahead and read.
For Adam was first formed, then Eve. And Adam was...
See, there's an order thing. The Adam was formed first, then Eve. Go ahead and read.
And Adam was not deceived. But the woman being deceived was in the transgression.
Go ahead.
Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing if they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety.
Now you see what he said? And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in transgression. Right? Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing. Y'all see that, right, women? But maybe that had been good for his day, but you understand now, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because some women are like, oh, I'm pregnant. You know, like that's one of the worst things in the world. They're not trying to get pregnant or whatever. You understand? But I'm going to leave that alone. So now anyway, let's go now. Let's go back to 1 Corinthians, the 11th chapter. 1 Corinthians, let's go back to 1 Corinthians 11th chapter. Because I'm not trying to get in no trouble today by women. So 1 Corinthians 11 and 4, because I honor you all. 1 Corinthians 11 and 4. Go ahead and read it.
Every man...
But there's still an order of things, though. Right. There's still an order of things. 11 and 4. Go ahead.
Every man praying or prophesying. Having his head covered, dishonoreth his head. But every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with her head uncovered, dishonoreth her head. So if she praying or prophesying with her head uncovered, she dishonored her head. Go ahead and read. For that is even all one as if she were shaven. And that is all that she was like she was bald-headed. Right. Go ahead and read. For if the woman be not covered, let her also be shorn. But if it be a shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, let her be covered. Now what is he talking about? He ain't talking about no hair. You understand? He talking about covered like we got women, we have church, we tell the women to put their scarves on, or hat on, or whatever you're going to put on your head. Right. Go ahead and read. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image and glory of God.
Now, that means then if we talk about hair, it said for a man indeed ought not to cover his head. That means that man, his hair got to be cut off every time he come praying or prophesying. He got to cut his hair off. Do we see any of that? So we're talking about man having their head uncovered by taking a garment off his head, and a woman putting on a garment over her head, having her head covered. This is what we're talking about. This is what Paul is talking about. Go ahead and read, because we're going to read you something in a minute. We're going to read something right here in a few minutes. Go ahead and read.
But the woman is the glory of the man.
Uh-huh.
For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man.
But the woman is of the man. Because the Lord said, look, I'm going to make you this woman, right? And she going to be your helpmate. So the woman was made for the man. Go ahead and read.
Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man.
But the woman for the man. Go ahead.
For this cause ought not the woman to have power on her head because of the angels.
Because of the angels. Go ahead. What angels?
Nevertheless.
The evil angels. Go ahead.
Nevertheless, neither is the man without the woman. Neither the woman without the man in the Lord.
In the Lord. Because he said it is not good that man should be alone. I'm going to make him help me, right? So he gave this man a wife, didn't he? And that's the only wife you're supposed to have, man. Go ahead and read.
For as the woman is of the man, even so is the man also by the woman. But all things of God.
Go ahead.
Judging yourselves. It is comely.
Is it? Is it comely?
Is it comely that a woman pray unto God uncovered? Doth not even nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him?
Go ahead.
But if a woman have long hair, it is a glory to her.
It is a glory to her. Go ahead.
For her hair is given for her for a covering.
See, for her hair is given for her for a covering. Okay, well then, go back to verse 4. Read that again. Read verse 4. Every
man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonor of his head.
Now, does he have to cut off his hair when he praying and prophesying every time? No, so we're not talking about then her hair being a covering because of the angel. We're talking about her having a head covering over her head like a garment because of the angels. Now, let's go to 1 Corinthians, the 14th chapter. 1 Corinthians 14, we got long to go. 1 Corinthians 14, and we're going to pick it up at verse 34. 1 Corinthians 14 and 34. Go ahead and read it.
Let your woman keep silence in the churches. For it is not permitted unto them to speak.
Go ahead.
But they are commanded to be under obedience, as also saith the law.
As also saith the law, to be under obedience. Verse 35, what does it say?
And if they will learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home. For it is a shame for a woman to speak in the church. Now, I'm going to leave that alone, because that's self-explanatory there, ain't it? That is plain there, ain't it? So a woman ain't supposed to be standing right here, do she? Well, why you got all these women preachers then? Well, anyway, let's go to Acts 18 chapter. Acts 18. Now, we ain't saying that women can't teach, because look at this right here. Acts 18. Acts 18, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Acts 18 and 1. When you get it, go ahead and read. Acts 18 and 1. Go ahead. After these things, Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth, and found a certain Jew named Aquila, born in Pontus, lately come from Italy, with his wife Priscilla.
With his wife Priscilla. Go ahead and read.
Because that Claudius had commanded all Jews to depart from Rome, and came unto